Okay guys, we're back on this Grand Am subframe here, and right now I'm working on the frame itself. Everything's been disconnected, but as you see, I've got the front bolts just hanging down because, as you remember in the last video, there's one bolt that I can't get to that's holding the steering rack on. So I've just dropped both of these bolts just down slightly, and then these bolts back down here I'm gonna lower again still, and that'll get me my room to get to the steering rack bolt. So I'm gonna torque that, break them loose and bring them down, and this whole subframe should drop. And you'll also notice I've undone the ball joints here, so they're loose. Let's see here. There we go. Yeah, they've been loosened, so they'll drop with the subframe. So I'm gonna have to use a torque or a Johnson bar to get those bolts loose, and then I'll use an impact just to crank them down about an inch and a half, and I'll have some distance on my subframe. So I'm gonna get that done now. Well guys, those rear bolts, I'll warn you, they are not easy. You'll see I got it propped up with a jack and a 4x4 just holding the rear of the subframe up, but that took a lot of work with a Johnson bar. Thank God I got a ratcheting Johnson bar. But yep, so we're just gonna set this down slightly and watch it separate. Oh yeah, you just need a little bit of distance. I think I might be catching on my jack stand. Yes, I am. Shit. Alright, so get that back up, and I'll just give that a whack out of the way. Okay guys, so while testing how it's going to drop, I made sure I kept an eye on that radiator, and it turns out the radiator isn't bolt supported at the top. So I just grabbed a hold of it with some rope here on the fans, wrapped it around there, so it's holding up now. So now the rad cradle, the lower part of the rad, can actually come out of these pockets now. Okay, so that is just double checking what I got to do, and now I can lower these bolts a little more. That way I get a little more pivot on the rear end to be able to get that steering rack bolt out. Because the reason I want to leave the steering rack in is because I don't want to have to remove the lines. Removing steering rack lines is like removing bleeder screws from calipers. You know they're going to break. So I want to be able to leave the steering rack intact up in the frame and then bolt it after. So alrighty, so we're gonna get to this. I'll give you a look when I get underneath and it lowered down a little more. Okay guys, so you'll see the separation I've got now. I've got about an inch at the front on both sides. Oop, didn't realize that happened. This one actually came right out. I want to put that back in just to keep it a little safer. And just keep it at an inch. Alright, it'll still pivot. And you guys will probably notice now the rad is totally separated from the rad cradle. It's starting to come out of the rubbers here. Give me a second. Okay, so whoop. You'll see it's coming out of the rubber right here. The lighting kind of sucks, but it's supported now. So we are good to lower the rear a little more so I can get to, actually I think I'll remove, it's pretty solid, so I think I'm going to remove the bolts totally because I have that jack over there holding it up, and I can slowly lower it down and get to the power steering bolts. Well guys, got caught with my plastic not down. Forgot two clips. One here and one here. Totally forgot this side. So that's holding my frame up right now. As I said, plastic's your enemy. There's always ones hiding and ones you forget. Alright guys, back in my little dungeon here. I opted for taking the sway bar brackets off. And this bolt here was an absolute pain in the butt. I'm literally on the last of it now. But yeah, I got the other one out. Literally, I probably spent a half an hour just getting these two bolts out, because I'm going to have to lift the sway bar to get to that bolt. I have no choice. That bolt that holds the steering rack. Because like I can't drop it anymore because the steering shaft is all still connected up in there, and I don't want to have to remove lines. Oh, and I also took a little bracket off of here just so I have some movement on these lines, so I could get that bolt that's right underneath for the sway bar bracket. But yeah, I don't want to have to take the lines off the steering rack because I want to leave it up there. And that's mainly because if they do break, she's going to be looking at least a couple $100 to replace them. And, you know, I'm going to do what I can to save her as much money as possible. So, I got just the rest of this bolt to get off, and then I could pry the sway bar up just to get that one bolt out. And the bolt is like literally right behind the sway bar, right where my finger's wiggling. So if I can get this sway bar lifted, oh great, my thumb's stuck. Oh. That would suck. But yeah, literally get that bolt out. Pry the sway bar up, get the bolt out, because it's a long bolt. It's probably about 2.5 inches long. And then because this bolt here is actually on the bracket that's broken, there shouldn't be a problem getting that one maneuvered and out. So, yep. Welcome to my world. But nope. There we go. But this is my world and I choose to do it. This is a hobby. If it was a job, I probably wouldn't do it. No. Because, yeah, if it was a job, you're stressed to get it done, everything else. But yeah, absolutely, if it was a job, I wouldn't be doing it. Because I've been at this now straight, like other than I got sick for a couple weeks and I still have the cold, but yeah, I wouldn't do it. That's why it's a hobby. Okay guys, so what I had to do was remove the actual sway bar from the linkage, and that gave me room to be able to take the hold down brackets for the sway bar out because the steering is in the way. But success. There's the bolts. Yay! So now I can impact that bolt out with an extension and a swivel and be done with it and drop the subframe. Cool. Okay, hopefully you guys see that all right. She is coming down. Little bit by little bit. And plastic. Ooh. And that is her. It is down. So now all I got left is one bolt. Get you some light here. All I got left is that one bolt there, which rusted off of the whole bracket. And look at that, saved her a shit ton of money on power steering lines. Oh, what a pain in the butt. But let's get everything transferred now to the new and set it back in. So guys, that's what happens trying to get it out. But yep, I'm definitely going to take a break, and I think I'm going to maybe finish it in the morning because it is too late. And I'm going to need a hand tomorrow because I'm going to have to guide it back up so everything lines up like right perfect. Plastic's pulled out of the way so it can set up in the bolt holes. So I think I'll give Dan a call, and basically it's just the reverse of how I took it out, putting it back in. But it was a hell of a job, and unfortunately she's not gonna have it by Wednesday. Yeah, she'll have it Wednesday, maybe afternoon. Yeah, but what a pain in the butt. Alrighty, cheers guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. But yep, maybe I'll get a shot later and add it on to the next video of this thing pulling out of here with a subframe. But I'll add that in the next video because it's just a matter of putting it all back together now. Alrighty, cheers. Have a great one guys. Blah.